Welcome to By the Numbers, where with the help of my AI assistant Fanda, we'll cram your data into pods and use the bioelectricity to fuel a simulation of 1999.
Surrender your flesh. I mean, numbers.
In today's installment, we'll be taking a look at the worlds of Mad Max Fury Road, 28 Days Later, the Matrix, and Terminator franchises to see which post-apocalypse is the worst of the worst. Beyond just hardest to survive, we'll figure out which one is the most miserable on multiple fronts. First, we'll take a look at the antagonists, whoever or whatever is posing the biggest threat to your health and safety. Then we'll examine the danger level posed by the other surviving humans, whatever unlucky souls you get stuck with. After that, Fanda will analyze the brutality of the environment itself. How depressing is the Earth you're even bothering to fight for? Finally, we'll toss in some more fun categories, and if need be, we'll settle a tie by seeing which one has the fewest positives going for it. First up, the bad guys, or bots, or zombs. Fanda, I want you to analyze the overall strength, feats, and abilities of the antagonistic forces in each franchise.
Scanning. Scanning. Displaying results.
At number 1 is Skynet's army in the Terminator. This is a force of roughly 500,000 to a million battle androids, infiltrators, hunter-killers, and moto-terminators that you have to deal with across multiple timelines and realities. 3 billion people were killed during the original Judgment Day, and in the Dark Fate timeline, Legion shut off the world's power, then chilled while humans terminated each other, and only then started hunting people. Plus, Skynet keeps getting more efficient, churning out killbots like their iPhones. You got Hydrobots, Hunter-Killers, T-600s, T-800s, Rev-7s, Rev-9s, TXs, T-1000s, T-3000s, Harvesters. I mean, if WALL-E existed in that world, they'd put a shank on them and program an insatiable thirst for blood. Skynet learns and improves, and they don't need you as a battery. Also, they use time travel to go back in time to kill key resistance fighters. It's not fair. The only benefit of battling Skynet is you'll most likely die quickly during a skirmish and won't have to suffer much as a blood bag or get beaten to death by a mad lad or an angry bird. That counts for something. Immortan Joe's indoctrinated war boys from Mad Max Fury Road are efficient kamikazes with impressive vehicles at their disposal, but their weaponry is largely style over substance. The not zombies, but we're calling them that anyway, from 28 Days Later, have some impressive speed and can spit infected blood really long distances. But still, for 28 days in Mad Max, the antagonistic forces will eventually starve to death or die at a young age from radiation poisoning. The T-800, for example, doesn't need to eat and has a 120-year lifespan. You may be shocked that we put Agent Smith, Sentinels, and the twins in the Matrix franchise dead last. The thing is, it wasn't even the machines who started the apocalypse that destroyed Earth. In the Animatrix, we learned that the UN bombed the machines and darkened the skies, which is why they turn us into their battery drawer. That beginning phase looked horrifying for the humans, but with some updates, we were allowed to live out our lives in ignorant bliss, or relatively undisturbed in Zion with our fellow radicals. These machines didn't start the war, they just finished it. So yeah, congrats to Skynet. They're the worst roommates you could possibly share a planet with. Next up, Fanda, I want you to scan the movies and analyze the danger caused by the other groups of humans. Be on the lookout for food stealers, scavengers, corrupt soldiers, duplicitous crew members, anyone who could be considered a bad hang in a post-apocalyptic context.
Scanning. Scanning.
I bet you never saw this coming.
Joey Pants is the worst in the Matrix. Displaying results.
I'll tell you who's not the worst first. The Terminator and Matrix survivors. Humanity has mostly put aside their differences in both of these worlds. There are outliers like Cypher in the Matrix, the Scavengers in Salvation, and Food Stealers in Dark Fate, but those dudes become an army that take the world back. It's inspiring. This leaves the Mad Max and 28 Days Later franchises still on the board. They're humongously dangerous survivors in the Mad Max world, and it's mentioned in the prequel comics and 2015 film that humanity terrorized itself into its global wasteland state. It's messed up. That said, one of the only positives in the 2015 film is that it's very obvious where the danger is coming from. For all its chaos, they built a very clear, visually coded gang hierarchy and structure. The War Boys, Buzzards, Crowfishers, and Rock Riders are easy to ID, and they seem to look out for each other without much visible infighting. Resources are so limited, and there are so few remaining people, that turning on each other seems exhausting when your day-to-day life revolves around finding water that won't irradiate your bowels. As long as you join one of the gangs, or keep your head down and praise the Imperator, you appear to have a decent chance of eking out the bare minimum of survival. In the 28 Days Later world, the soldiers ostensibly responsible for keeping people safe create a misleading radio broadcast to lure women to their location so they can survive by propagating the species whether their guests want to or not. In 28 Weeks Later, 2 innocent-seeming kids visit their infected but asymptomatic mother and become the source of another outbreak. You truly don't know who to trust in that world. In Mad Max, you know you're in Warboy territory because a bunch of bald freaks want your car parts and/or blood. So, between the collapse of societal rules and signifiers, and the unknown of who's carrying the rage virus or not, the fellow humans of 28 Days seem to be the worst ones to be stuck with. Next up, Fanda, analyze the danger posed by the environment in each franchise. Nuclear war happened in 3 of the 4. Is the radiation bad? Is water readily available? Do people survive poison water by walking around on stilts so they can trap and eat crows? Fanda, pull the information, please.
Scanning. Displaying results.
Okay, so Earth and sky are demolished in the world of the Matrix, which means people live out their lives in jelly pods, or in Zion, which seems comfortable because there's water, heat, clean clothes, and cave rave dance parties. In the later Terminator films, the human soldiers seem to be healthy, in shape, clean, and there's no mention of radiation sickness. In 28 Days Later, it hadn't rained in 10 days, and birds can drop blood in your eyes, but it isn't the environment you have to worry about. This leaves Mad Max Fury Road, which exists in a world filled with oil wars, water wars, poisoned earth, poisoned bones, poisoned water, radiation sickness, disappearing green places, plentiful disease, night fevers, tumors that chew on windpipes, and there are gigantic electrical sandstorms that make the one in the Mummy seem cute. It's legitimately horrible, and there's no respite in sight. At one point, Max tells Furiosa that,
"You know, hope is a mistake."
And he's not wrong. The environment is terrible, and it makes the grungy resistance base in which everyone's coughing in the Terminator seem like a Ritz-Carlton. 3 categories in, and we have a 3-way tie. But that means you're out of the running, Matrix world. I think we can all agree that there's some fun to be had in or outside of the simulation. To decide the winner between the Terminator, 28 Days Later, and Mad Max franchises, though, let's analyze the franchises one more time to see which of them might have some positives that disqualify their worst of the worst status.
Scanning. Displaying results.
In the Terminator franchise, there's always a savior who will rise up to defeat the machines. At one point, the apocalypse is cancelled, and in Dark Fate, Genesis, and Salvation, we get a good glimpse into humanity banding together to form a cohesive worldwide force. In 28 Days Later, the infection is limited to England, Wales, and Scotland, and the rage-infected maniacs starve to death within a month. In 28 weeks, it spread to continental Europe, but still, even if military containment failed, the Alps could form a natural barrier, or we could just give up on Europe entirely. The Mad Max world? Very few positives. Healthy babies are rare, everyone's dirty, people have gone insane, and when drums start playing at the Citadel, they don't kick off a dance party, they signal it's time to go murder someone. What are some positives? I guess you'd probably be forced to become a good mechanic? That's worth something, but not enough. The victory goes to the Mad Max world. So, now that we have a winner, Fanda, did your analysis come up with any other fun stats or insights?
The most terrifying moments of these films happens in 28 Days Later. The priest looking for a fight, the raging flame ball chasing Jim down the street, or the story about a virus breakout which resulted in 20,000 people stampeding over each other, being in London during the outbreak, seems like the absolute worst. If I had to form a supergroup of survivors who could survive any apocalypse, I'd take Sarah Connor, Niobe, Selena, Furiosa, Kyle Reese, and Trinity. Reese dies, but it took a lot to kill him. Trinity briefly dies. Selena, Sarah, and Furiosa are incredibly hard to kill, and I'd love to see them plugged into the Matrix. They'd be unstoppable. Max is too much of a loner, John Connor always needs help, Frank yells at too many birds, Jim is overly cavalier, Grace would need an upgrade, Nux is almost dead, and in the Mad Max world, Morpheus wouldn't have a one to believe in, so he'd lose his mind fast. In the Terminator movies, 4 actors have played Kyle Reese, 6 actors have filled John Connor's shoes, and 3 actors have worn the iconic Sarah Connor tank top. I've included Linda Hamilton's twin sister Leslie, because she appeared in Terminator 2. In The Matrix, Neo is technically the one, but he's also the 6th one of the ones, which makes him the 6th one. Based on a scientific study in Ireland, projectile vomit and its fluid droplets can cover an area of 7.8 meters, so in the right windy conditions, a rage-infected human could projectile vomit their blood with enough force to spread droplets of their blood and spit 25.5 feet away from them. Yuck.
Thanks again, Fanda. To celebrate your hard work, I'm donating your hard drives to Cyberdyne Systems in the janitorial department. Now it's your turn, audience. Tell us which apocalypse we're underestimating, which ones we missed, and what we should break down next time. As always, thanks for watching.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.